Hello everyone. Razorblade Mango here, and I want to talk about a new game that came out last week and how it relates to something that has been knocking around in my brain for a number of years now, having to do with a publisher that I cover more frequently than others on this channel, Square Enix. And the game in question is the debut game, astoundingly, from a new studio called Sandfall Interactive, and I'm sure you all have heard of it, called Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now, this is not going to be a review of Expedition 33 itself, because I'm still going through the game, but I did beat the main story yesterday, so it's really fresh in my mind. And let me start by saying that I absolutely adore this game. I've always had a good feeling about this game ever since it was announced at Xbox's summer event last year. And I think what Sandfall Interactive have done with this game and their collaborators is nothing short of miraculous. It is a turn-based RPG that I feel like is hugely ambitious for a team like this. And even though the core team is made up of about 30 people, which I seriously can't believe that, even if they have a bunch of uncredited contractors or support studios working on the game, the fact that this is a core team of only 30 people and their first game is not only a masterpiece, but a game that I feel like advances this genre that they are paying like clear reverence and love for, the turn-based RPG, specifically the turn-based JRPGs of the past, like Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, Lost Odyssey. And not only does it pay direct homage to everything having to do with classic turn-based RPGs and their tropes, but it also modernizes and advances the gameplay to infuse a sense of action combat that never once sacrifices strategy and thinking 2 steps ahead and trying to min-max your builds and thinking of what strategies go with which character's specific traits. It's an amazing game. It's amazing. I'm sitting here, I can't believe how fantastic this game ended up being. And this game exceeded my expectations to what it was going to be. And one of the big reasons I was so excited for this game is because it looked like the modern Final Fantasy game that I have been wanting for ages. And I do mean the mainline numbered ones, not including the remake trilogy, which is its own separate thing in my eyes. But ever since Final Fantasy X, and this is going to sound wild, I have not liked a single non-online, single-player only mainline Final Fantasy game. I did not like Final Fantasy XII. I really did not like Final Fantasy XIII. I really, really, really did not like Final Fantasy XV. I was very mixed, more tipping over towards negative the more time has gone on about Final Fantasy XVI. So, to have Expedition 33 come out for me, this is a dream game. This is the game that I have been dreaming of Square Enix making for all these years, where they cut down on this obsession with realistic graphics and modernizing the RPG elements to such a degree that it scrubs it of all texture and personality and niche, and it tries to just be... It basically reached a new point with Final Fantasy XVI where it's just an action game. It's just a much more shallow version of Devil May Cry. There's not a lot of class system building and tweaking strategies to vibe to see what broken ass builds you can make with characters and attributing stats that actually mean something, unlike Final Fantasy XVI. This is a game, to me, and the reason for this video is that it puts goddamn Square Enix on fucking notice. It proves Square Enix wrong, that turn-based RPGs are not some antiquated thing that you need to run away from, that you need to find new elements that push aside the RPG elements, the more niche gameplay elements of the past. And what's so frustrating, especially about Square Enix and their this weird single-minded obsession with filtering out all of what makes Final Fantasy mechanically Final Fantasy and just making a dull action game but slap a Final Fantasy skin on it, even though 16, I would argue, has much more in common with Game of Thrones than with Final Fantasy. They have a game that does this in their arsenal, that has the combat system, that with the remake trilogy, that fuses the action and turn-based system brilliantly, that hybrid exists. But instead, Square Enix just goes, no, you have people like Naoki Yoshida, and God bless Naoki Yoshida. Yoshi P. I respect him a lot for what he did with Final Fantasy 14 and saving that game. But when it comes to his approach to how he did Final Fantasy 16 and how he wanted to push it more towards action, that's where my respect just falls off a cliff. Because a quote that has always bothered me from him when he was trying to justify why Final Fantasy 16 is embracing much, much more hack and slash action than any other game in the past in this series. He talked about how gamers are younger and they expect more super quick, fast, hyper action games like he specifically mentioned Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. So he wanted to put elements of Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto in Final Fantasy, a mainline Final Fantasy game, because he wanted to scrub it away because he thought young gamers didn't want to approach Final Fantasy because it's too niche. And for these guys that have been trapped in the Ubisoft sludge factory to break out and be free and make something that is way, 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 way more faithful and respectful to the spirit of classic Final Fantasy than anything Square Enix has put out in the mainline entries in over 2 decades, is crazy to me. Expedition 33 proves you can have it both ways. You can have a game that is all about beautiful, classic turn-based action and melding it with a combat system that has more action elements where you do need to think as well as react quickly to counterattacks, to dodges, to parrying. This is one of the most engaging combat systems I've seen in an RPG ever. And they did not have to sacrifice what made those classic Final Fantasy games so great. I'm going to be holding this game as the gold standard from now on. When Final Fantasy 17 comes out, and I assume we'll have, again, the action elements of 16, because Square Enix just doesn't learn. They don't learn that, hey, we have this great combat system with the remake series, and look over here at Expedition 33 and Metaphor ReFantazio doing really cool shit with turn-based RPGs. Nope. Just gonna make it a more shallow Devil May Cry again, because we need to appeal to gamers that like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty. I guess they didn't really care about Final Fantasy 16 anyway, because according to Square Enix, and though they say this about all their games, that it sold below expectations. Yeah, how'd that work out for you guys? Embracing Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty for your Final Fantasy game. Yeah, that worked out really, really well. Meanwhile, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. 1 million in sales in less than a week, baby. That's how you do it. So, huge congratulations to Sandfall Interactive. Huge congratulations to just everyone involved with this game. Everybody clearly put their best foot forward. It's a masterpiece. You owe it to yourself to play this game.